Hello everyone, I am Tubanis and today I am going to demonstrate the very fundamental topic of biology, which is cell. So, as you know, cell is the basic unit of living matter. We can say that cell, in simple words, cell is the smallest part of living organism that can be considered alive. Everything that is alive, whether it is a human, a plant, or even a microscopic organisms, all are made up of cells. So cells are extremely important because they carry out all essential life processes. These processes include metabolism, growth, reproduction. So because of this, we often describe cell as a self-contained units of structure and function. So dear student, it means that each cell has its own structure and performs specific functions necessary for life. So this is the very important concept, self-contained unit. So move ahead. We can classify organisms on based on cells. So living organism can be divided into two main groups depending on how many cells they contain. So first is unicellular organism, and then the second one is multicellular organism. First we have unicellular organisms. So these organisms are made up of only one cell, only a single cell. Even though they have only one cell, that single cell perform all important functions needed for survival, such as obtaining food, energy, responding to the environment, reproduction, metabolism. All processes occur within a single cell organisms. So there are a huge number of unicellular organisms in the living world, many of them existing for millions or even billions of years in evolutionary history. So these organisms have evolutionary history because they existed on a hundred or thousand years, 1,000 million years ago on Earth. Even we can say that all multicellular organisms are evolved from the unicellular organisms. So, if we talk about the example for unicellular organisms, you can see here this diagram: unicellular alga, amoeba, and Escherichia coli. These are all unicellular organisms, and we will discuss all these organisms later in this video. So, the second category is a multicellular organisms. So these organisms are made up of many cells, include animals such as mammals and plants such as flowering plants. Uh, so in multicellular organism, different cells perform different functions. For example, in humans, we have nerve cells, blood cells, or even muscle cells, and all cells have different functions to perform. So much of the biology we study focus on multicellular organisms, including the human body. However, it is important to remember that unicellular organisms are also perform all life processes, but they do not, but they do so within a single cell. So, now let's look at the first diagram on this slide. This diagram actually represents a motile unicellular algae. So, motile means it can move. It can move. It has different organs that is used for different purposes. So, this organism is usually found in the freshwater habitat and that are rich in ammonium ions, and it provides actually nutrients. Ammonium ions as it provide nutrients. So let's look at its structure. At the top of the alga, there are two hip-like flagella, and flagella are long hip-like structure and help the organism move through the water. So it is the basic purpose of flagella. And the other one is cytoplasm. As you know, you already know cytoplasm is actually a gel-like structure, and it is important for all metabolic processes that occur in the cell. So it is a very important uh, structure in the unicellular, even multicellular organisms, because all metabolic reactions are occur in the cytoplasm. The next one is chloroplast. Chloroplast is actually it is a green structure shown here in this diagram. This is a green structure. So chloroplast contain chlorophyll, which allow organisms to carry out photosynthesis. It is necessary for photosynthesis. So if this organism carry out photosynthesis, then we can say that this organism can uh, prepare food by their own. So this organism also uses light for the photosynthesis, because photosynthesis can't occur without light. So light sensitivity spot is also present here, and the function of this, it is also called eye spot, and it detects light. When the organism detects lights, it moves towards light for photosynthesis. When organism get light, the photosynthesis will occur here and it prepare their own food. So the next very important organelle is nucleus. Nucleus is we can also say that nucleus is actually the brain of the cell, because it contains all genetic material or DNA which controls cell activities. So it is a very important organelle in the cell. The last is the starch storage. So this starch storage is actually the cell also it stores the unicellular algae stores starch, which act as an energy reserve. So it is used for the to reserve the energy which is formed during the photosynthesis. So now moving towards amoeba. I hope you will understand the function and structure of the unicellular algae. It's very simple. So now move to the amoeba. It is now the second diagram. Is amoeba. It is also unicellular organisms. So it mostly lives in water and moist environment. Means moist water and moist environments are the habitat of amoeba. Its structure is quite different from other cells. Here, the most important structure is pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is also called false sheet. These extension of the cytoplasm help the amoeba in movement and capture food. Just like in alga, here flagella is used for the movement, but in amoeba, pseudopodia is used for the movement and to capture and to also capture food. So the second one is okay. So the next structure is the cytoplasm. Okay, yeah, this is the cytoplasm. So just like in amoeba, just like in unicellular alga, in amoeba cytoplasm is also used for the metabolic reactions. All metabolic reactions are occur in the cytoplasm. But the interesting thing is the cytoplasm has two parts: endoplasm, clear ectoplasm. Endoplasm is actually the inner dense part, as the name demonstrate. Inner endo means inner, and the clear ectoplasm, the outer part of the cytoplasm. So the next one is cell surface membrane. So the amoeba is surrounded by a cell surface membrane. This membrane is actually controls the movement of substances into and out of the cell. So it plays a very important role here. So the next one is food vacuoles. The amoeba has also a food vacuoles. These structures stores and digest food particles that the cell captures. So the basic purpose is storage. Just like unicellular algae, we have a starch storage. Here is the food vacuoles. We store the food. It also digests the food particles. So the last and a very important structure is a contractile vacuole. And dear student, its function is to remove excess water from the cell, which helps to maintain the osmotic balance. So, this is all about amoeba. I hope you will understand all the structures and functions of the amoeba. All are very simple and very similar to the alga, unicellular algae. So the next then last diagram which I am going to discuss is Escherichia coli. So Escherichia coli is actually a bacterium, commonly known as E. coli. So it is mostly lives in the intestines of animals, including humans. All strains of Escherichia coli, and some strains are pathogenic, but our strains are not pathogenic. Some are beneficial also. That lives in the that is the important part of the microbiome of living organisms. Like in humans, E. coli is present in the gut of in the gut. Actually, in our gut, there is a large number of microorganisms that helps in digestion, and it also improves the health of our gut. So, this is the importance of microbiome in our gut. So, now looks we have for to understand the Escherichia we have to discuss it all this important structure like cell wall, cell surface membrane, structure and its function. So, the outer layer. First, we will start with the cell wall. It is actually the outer layer which provides shape and protection. It actually maintains the structure of the bacteria. So the next one is cell surface membrane. Just like in Amoeba, where we discuss cell surface membrane is used to regulate the movement of substances in and out of the cell. So and the next very important part is a cytoplasm. As I already discussed, that cytoplasm is just like a jelly-like material where where all metabolism reactions are occur. So it is present in almost all unicellular and multicellular organisms. So here the very important part is plasmid. Plasmid is actually just like a circular DNA and in the E. coli. So unlike eukaryotic cells, bacteria have circular DNA instead of a nucleus because it doesn't contain nucleus. And the significance of plasmid is also used in the genetic engineering. It is a very important part of genetic engineering. Even in later videos, we will discuss the topics of genetic engineering where we will discuss its significance also. So the next structure is circular DNA. It is actually the genetic material of DNA. So E. coli actually contain this is actually a circular DNA. Plasmid is also circular, but this is actually a main genetic material of the Escherichia coli. So here the very important organelle is ribosome. Ribosomes are actually the important part of the cytoplasm and it is responsible for the production of protein. We can also say that it is a factory of protein synthesis. So this is the topic which we have to discuss in this video. To summarize it, I will say cell is the smallest unit of life. Organisms can be a unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular organisms perform all life processes within a single cell, includes amoeba, unicellular alga, or Escherichia coli, means E. coli. Each organism has a specialized structure that help it survive and function. So, dear students, understanding cell is extremely important because all biological processes start at a cellular level. Thank you very much.